Good Sunday evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Danger Zone. I am your host, Ken Moore. We'll be joined shortly by my partner, Floyd B., as we go around the action from the NFL today. And we'll take a look to the Sunday night contest between the Texans and the Bears. All of that coming up next on the Danger Zone.
You're in the danger zone. Punk, you're in the danger zone. 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 You're in the danger zone.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a Sunday afternoon edition of the Danger Zone. I'm your host, Ken Moore. We will be joined shortly by my partner, Floyd B., as we put a bow on week 2 of the NFL season. And then we also look ahead to the Sunday night matchup between the Texans and the Bears. Unfortunate beginning to the show. Of course, the Titans lose again today to the New York Jets, 24-17, almost a repeat performance of week 1 against the Chicago Bears, where the defense did enough to win the game, but the offense and special teams let the Nashville faithful down once again in that one. But we'll go all around the NFL and take a look at all of the results this afternoon. First and foremost, we want you guys to subscribe and to like the show. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. Please hit that notification bell as we come to you on this Sunday evening. Without further ado, I'll bring in my partner, Floyd B. My brother, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you, brother. Happy Sunday to you, man. Very interesting day today, man. Let's get into it.
It was a very, very, very interesting day. Let's start off in Nashville, where the Titans, week 2, same song, different verse. Will Levis making critical mistakes at the wrong time, undercuts, pretty good defensive showing. Aaron Rodgers came up with some big plays in the second half late, converted a critical 3rd and 16, I believe, down the left sideline to get the Jets into scoring position for their final score of the day. And Will Levis, unfortunately, unable to bring the Titans back. Look, man, you said it. It was going to be a difficult season. I got to give you your flowers. I got to say you were right. I was wrong so far on the beginning.
right now. Look like we may be having a little difficulty right now. But those for you that can hear me, I'm still here, your boy Floyd B. And recap to what he was saying earlier. The Jets defeat the Titans 24-17. Basically, it was a defensive game the entire stay.
Whew. Sorry about that, my brother. My laptop just crapped out on me all of a sudden, so I had to reboot it. Go ahead, my brother.
Well, I was trying to hold it down a little bit, man, until you got back on. But I was discussing the Jets defeat the Titans 24-17. Basically, was a great. You seen great play from both sides, from both team defense. Unfortunately, I watched the game, the entire game, and just being absolutely honest with you, man, your defense has been playing well. Your defense right now, I don't know the stats or the number, but if you ask me, they're top 10 defense for sure. From the first 2 games of the season, what they're playing, man. But clearly, your problem is your quarterback position, big bro. And unless they can coach him down and tone him down a little bit, man, this, like I said, you guys will probably catch fire maybe at the end of the season and look respectively. But I just believe by that time you'd be so far in the hole because it seems right now the kid just not coachable, man. And I hate to say that, but that's what the eyes see. That's what I'm saying, man. He's not coachable because I know they're teaching him and showing him better ways of protecting the ball and decisions to make. So with that being said, man, I'll let you put the icing on the cake with this what we're down today and what it looked like for the Titans in the upcoming weeks. And we'll touch around the AFC South as we keep going on before this game come on here tonight.
Well, first and foremost, Will Levis.
Punk, you're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. Punk,
Yeah, he is definitely in the danger zone. If it were up to me, because you have to look at the season you have to look at the small picture, right? 17-game season, but you have to break it down into, kind of your four-game quadrant. And right now you're 0-2 in the first 2 games, 2 very winnable games. But then you have to take a step back and you have to look at the rest of the division. Everybody else besides Houston is 0-2. The Jags are 0-2. We both thought they would be terrible. The Colts lost today. I told you Malik Willis was going to get that dub today against Green Bay.
I took him too, man.
Yeah, because Matt LaFleur, he dialed up an excellent game plan for Green Bay today. So everyone in the division outside of Houston is 0-2. And when we go through the league, we'll take a look at the 0-2 teams right now. So before this season gets away from Tennessee, because you have a defense and you have a running game, you just need someone to manage the game right now. You have a bye week coming up in week 5. You have the first bye week of the season. I would go ahead and pull the plug temporarily on Will Levis right now, and I would go with Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is a game manager. Sometimes he tries to do a little too much, but we saw from his time in Pittsburgh, particularly at the end of last year, he was able to guide that team into the playoffs. And the next 2 games will make or break your season if you're the Tennessee Titans. You have the Green Bay Packers coming up next week and Malik Willis. And then after that, let me pull up the schedule. I think we have the Colts after the bye. Let me see who we have after that. We got Green Bay, and then we have the Miami Dolphins, who will likely be without Tua. So you have 2 backup quarterbacks over the next 2 weeks. You have an opportunity to get back into this thing. But you're not going to get back into this thing with Will Levis. It's just not going to happen. He did the same stupid stuff that he did in week 1. He did it again in week 2. And it's just a mentality. He has that linebacker mentality where he has to be the hero on every play. And as you said, apparently he's not coachable because when he gets in the heat of the moment, he just loses his mind. So I would make the move right now to go to Mason Rudolph. I would see what happens in these 2 games before the bye. If Mason Rudolph can get you back to 2-2 and get you back in the race, then I'm continuing to roll with Rudolph. If Rudolph do the job and you have to go back to Will Levis, and then you may just have, to call the season what it is and just kind of play out the string and see where you line up as far as draft position and all that kind of stuff for next year. But I would pull the plug next week. Mason Rudolph would be my starting quarterback.
The only thing about that is that Mason Rudolph has proved that he can play, that he is an NFL quarterback. He's just not a starting quarterback. So I don't know if you can do that and then go back to Levis. I mean, who knows? It's kind of Heck Jekyll with him with his play sometime. But it's just extremely important that we point out that the AFC South currently are all 0-2, and if the Texans can pull out this win tonight, we'll be 2-0 and 2-game lead up in the division. And going around in the division, it was a close game in Green Bay. Shout out to your boy Malik Willis, man. Hey man, Michael
We're gonna get to him.
Yeah. So that's how I look at it right now, man. The Texans got an opportunity, man, to be up 2-0 in this division, man, and kind of win the first quarter. Like you said, it's kind of broke off into quarters in 4 games, So this is the first quarter of the season, and you try to go at least 500, 2-2. You definitely don't want to come out the gate 1-3 and 0-4. Too early in the season, especially if you don't have the components that you can get into some shootouts and win you some wild games. So that's where I'm at right now, man. It just right now, just bad play, man, from your quarterback, man. That's all we can say on that, Ken. Just bad play from your quarterback, man.
All right. Well, we're limited on time tonight, so let's go ahead and move on to the Texans and Bears preview. Again, last week we saw Tennessee really dominate that entire game against Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. They really had him mesmerized from a quarterbacking standpoint. Only threw for 93 yards last week. The Titans were able to shut down the Bears' running game as well. Their offense really didn't do anything all afternoon long. Now, we've seen a lot of teams this afternoon that have made drastic improvements from week 1 to week 2. We saw a lot of shocking upsets today as well. So the Texans definitely have to be on upset alert. From my understanding, the roof will be open at NRG, which is shocking to me considering the temperatures in Houston, Texas right now. 90 degrees most of the day. It's going to be high humidity tonight. So maybe they're thinking, they can wear the Bears down by making them play in the heat tonight at NRG Stadium. But the Texans looked very good offensively last week against the Colts. Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs got a couple of scores last week. The running game was tremendous with Joe Mixon. I think that's something that they have to lean on again tonight. Tennessee had over 140 yards rushing last week against Chicago. So if I'm the Texans coming into this ball game, I don't want to lean heavily on C.J. Stroud because the Bears do have a very good pass rush. I want to lean on that running game with Joe Mixon, and then once I establish that running game, then I want to go to that play-action pass with C.J. Stroud and try to get those boys on track. On the defensive side of the ball, well, let's talk about the offense, and then we'll move into the defense.
I mean, Bobby Sola been having a great game plan the first game of the season, man. He kind of kept it balanced. And the whole key to the Texans offense is not turning the ball over, and we've been fortunate that CJ has been able to protect the ball. The Bears do have a good defense. So just we'll be fine, man. As long as we play within the contents, man. On paper, we're a better team. So now we just got to go on the field and show that we're a better team, man.
On the defensive side of the ball, you need your edge rushers to come up big tonight. I think Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, I don't think either one of those guys had a sack in week 1. I'm looking for those guys to have big games tonight. What have you heard? I know you listen to a lot of sports talk radio around town. What has been the word on the defense? They gave up some big plays to the Colts last week. Anthony Richardson able to hit some big plays downfield. Caleb Williams is going to take some shots. Now, I haven't seen the injury report. I know Rome Odunze and I believe Keenan Allen were both questionable to play tonight. I'll try to bring up and see if they have the inactives listed. But your thoughts on your defense going up against their offense?
The word over on Kirby over there, man, we're not concerned about numbers. Pressure is just as important as a sack, And they did. Hunter and Will Anderson had a nice amount of pressure, quarterback pressure, applied to Richardson last week. Our concern is the secondary and Jimmy Ward. It's been the talk of the week. It's been the talk all week long. And you got a guy on there and Moore who kind of plays. He's a rookie, kind of plays the position better, kind of knows it. And they're just wanting when they will pull the plug and see how long will Jimmy Ward hold on to this cornerback, to this safety position, man. That free safety, man, he's getting beat. He's getting beat. He's getting beat across the top. So that's what we're mostly concerned about. Is giving up big plays. I think we can stay within the hashes, the length of a football field, but big plays will kind of allow us to keep other teams in the game thus far this season, what we're saying. So it's really important to cut down on the big plays. Again, I think they're going to be down a couple receivers in Chicago tonight. It remains to be seen. I think the rookie is out for sure. I'm almost for sure of that. But other than that, I'm not concerned about not really getting a lot of sacks. I am concerned about making sure we do put enough pressure on him to make the kid think a little different than what he's seeing out there.
We do have the inactive list. So for the Texans, inactive, the main names that people want to hear, Damian Pierce, the running back, is inactive tonight. John Mechie, the wide receiver, is inactive. Linebacker Rashard Weaver, former Titan, is inactive tonight. For Chicago, the big name wide receiver Keenan Allen will not play tonight. He is inactive. Fullback Kari Blasingame, another former Titan, is also inactive tonight. So Rome Odunze will be there along with DJ Moore, but there will not be Keenan Allen. He will not play tonight. So I think that's advantage Houston in that wide receiver cornerback matchup.
Yeah, because the kid needs as many weapons as he can get out there. My concern about a name that I just heard on the Texans behalf is Mechie. I mean, come on, man.
Apparently, he's a healthy scratch. Apparently, he's not hurt. He's just a healthy scratch. So
I mean, if you're keeping him, you're not playing him. I mean, you're not playing Robert Woods. You cut Noah Brown. I mean, you can't continue to hold roster spots for individuals. He had one preseason game and that kind of put him over the top, and he also got the empathy of the coaching staffs and the front office there of what he's been through. But again, if he's a healthy scratch, what does that tell to you? It's telling that he's not in the game plan. He's not hurt. He's not even suiting up. So we tend to watch that kind of closely throughout the season, man. Just see how much this kid is going to get on the field and how much he can produce.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they implement their wide receiver unit here tonight on both sides of the field. But we'll see if the Texans can pull out the W at home. Let's start to go around the NFL and take a look at some of the games this afternoon. Man, a surprise. Well, not a surprise to me, but a surprise to some up in Green Bay. No Jordan Love today. Malik Willis, who just got traded to Green Bay right before the start of the season. Only been there for about 2 weeks. Great game plan by Coach Matt LaFleur as they pull out the victory over the Indianapolis Colts today. Very disappointing loss. I think the Colts gave up like 260 yards rushing in the first half against Green Bay. You had to know that Green Bay was going to come out running the ball, and they had a lot of different reverses and a lot of different schemes set up against that coach run defense that you guys exposed last week with Joe Mixon. And Green Bay doubled down on that today as they pull out a huge win over the Colts and brought the Colts to 0-2 on the season.
Yeah, man. Josh Jacobs had a great game, man. Josh Jacobs had a great game, man. I think he had like 28 rushes or something for 148 yards, something like that. They really pound the ball on the coast, and I guess the Texans showed you the blueprint and that you can run the football on the coast. It kind of remained to be seen. How far this coast team can go. I think they're still searching for identity. You know, the Shane Steichen so far has been a great head coach in this league. But I still think right now the Colts are searching for identity, big bro. You know, they got to figure out what type of team they are. You know, because I mean, hey man, you can get explosive play from your quarterback. You got receivers who can make plays. You got a bona fide running back and Jonathan Taylor, and your defense is not terrible. But it's decent and it's respectful, and you're going into Lambeau Field, and you're losing up against a backup quarterback, man. So I think a lot of that has to do with them just not knowing what type of team they are, big bro.
Yeah, I agree with you. Are you going to be a defensive team? Are you going to be a power running team? You know, what are you? And I think you're absolutely right. I don't think the Colts have identified what they want to be yet with Anthony Richardson. And look, today was just his sixth game as a starting quarterback in the league. But I think more of that concern's got to be on the other side of the ball because they've gotten beat up physically the first 2 weeks of the season, you know. And look, we talked in the offseason, and I'm kind of shocked because they linebackers were talking big stuff this offseason. EJ Speed and those guys were talking a lot of trash with your quarterback and talking a lot of noise, and they've come out and they got punched in the mouth the first couple of weeks of the season. So I'm a little bit surprised at how the Colts have come out and started the season 0-2.
Yeah, I am too. But again, I just think that once he find out what this team is and what he want to be, I think they can be a pretty good football team, man.
All right, and then the Colts, their next two games coming up on the schedule, which is going to be critical for them as well. They have the Dolphins next week, so they get another backup quarterback. They won't have to see Tua. No, I'm sorry. I'm ahead of the curve here. Hold on, back to September. They have the Bears next week. The Bears will have the trifecta of Tennessee, Houston, and then they get the Colts next week. That game will be in Indianapolis, so they'll get a chance to see Caleb Williams here tonight. And then they'll take on the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 4. The Steelers off to a good start at 2-0. So Indy with 2 big home games coming up against Chicago and Pittsburgh, and they really need to win both of those games if they want to stay in the race, particularly in the AFC, but even more so in the AFC South.
Absolutely.
Huge surprise today as the New Orleans Saints and their offense, 47 points last week against Carolina. Most people say, oh, where's Carolina? Didn't take much from it. They were 6.5-point underdogs to the Cowboys today, went into Jerry World, where I think the Cowboys had won 16 consecutive regular season games, and they mollywopped the Cowboys today, 44-19, I believe. Derek Carr, amazing day. Alvin Kamara looked outstanding, looked like the Alvin Kamara of 4 years ago. Clint Kubiak, the new offensive coordinator in New Orleans, yes, the son of former Houston Texans head coach Gary Kubiak. And man, that Kubiak system is rolling up yards and it's rolling up points. And they went in the Jerry world and did it to the Cowboys today.
Hey man, this was a very, very despicable game, man. It was despicable, and it really, really made me go back and remember what did I say at the beginning of the season. I said that the Cowboys won't make the playoffs. I predicted that.
You did?
Yes. But what we didn't see was Derek Carr finally getting an offensive coordinator that kind of fits what he can do. You know, the QBX system, man, the Shanahan, the QBX, the Shannon, all that. Hey, man, it's been going a long time on Big Bro, and as you can see, it still worked formidable. Man, Dallas, the New Orleans Saints.
They made Matt Sharp a Pro Bowler.
Yes, yes. So the New Orleans Saints did whatever they chose to do today against the Dallas Cowboys. And here's what I've been trying to tell some of my friends, some of my delusional friends that are Cowboy fans. You are in a straight up 4-3 defense right now. And you're trying to put Michael Parsons in the middle of the field when you're doing a 4-3 defense when he's only 210 pounds. And he wasn't playing against Deshaun Watson. He wasn't playing against a quarterback who's trying to figure out a system. They ran into a quarterback who fit the system around him. Hey, man, I may eat crow when it comes to the Saints, man. I know it's just 2 games, but I may eat crow on that, man, because I predicted Dennis Allen be the first one out of there this season. But
my wife is smiling. She's been smiling and yelling all day about her Saints. And
she got to let her have a moment, and she haven't had a moment in a while. She hasn't had a moment in a while, man. So let her have a moment, man.
Yeah, Derek Carr last week against Carolina, 19 of 23, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Today, 11 of 16, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have 1 interception today. Alvin Kamara, 20 carries, 115 yards, 3 touchdowns today. I mean, it was an all-around beatdown in Dallas today.
They can't run the football, man. The Dallas Cowboys cannot run the football. They can't run the football, and they can't stop anyone.
Well, they don't have a NFL caliber running back on the roster. Zeke had 6 carries for 16 yards. Some guy named Rowdo had 7 carries for 30 yards. So, yeah, you got Dak Prescott at times. You know, when you have Dak passing the ball too much, he's gonna start making mistakes, and he had two interceptions today. So
it's why I thought Mike McCarthy being the offensive coordinator was a bad thing. They people must have forgot his last 2 years in Green Bay. They had no running game. Aaron Rodgers was throwing the ball and got MVPs, true enough, but he abandoned the running game. He abandoned the running game, and it got him ran out of Green Bay, and he gradually slipped right back into that fold. Once he got Cullen Moore up out of there, they don't have a quality NFL running back on their roster, and it shows. It shows, man.
A team that does have a quality NFL running back, they also failed to 0-2 today, as the Baltimore Ravens blow a 4th-quarter lead, a 10-point 4th-quarter lead to the Las Vegas Raiders, and lose 26-23 at home to Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew, when he was a member of the Colts last year, went into M&T Bank Stadium and upset the Baltimore Ravens, and Minshew did it again today with the Ravens. Check out these numbers from Minshew. 30 of 38, 276 yards and a touchdown. He got sacked 5 times, but he still did enough to get the victory. Lamar Jackson, 21 of 34, pretty good day, 247 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Derrick Henry got rolling late in that ball game, 18 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown. But the Ravens, man, wow.
Hey.
And they're 0-2.
Hey. I know it's just 2 games, but you doggone, you give me my credit because I called this division. I said that the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns be top of this division. Hey, as we speak right now, the Baltimore Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals are both 0-2. The Cleveland Browns are 1-1, and Pittsburgh Steelers on top of the division at 2-0. Look at here. Call me right when I'm right.
Are you right so far?
Call me right when I'm right. I told you that it was not going to be Baltimore offense I'm concerned about. I think they're going to still do it's the defense. They lost on defense. They missed Patrick Queen, man. They missed that. And I called that, man.
Oh, yeah. You dead right on that one, bro. You dead right on that one so far. I still don't believe in Cleveland. We'll see what happens. They played the Jags today, so I can't give them a lot of everybody. We already said, both of us said the Jags probably end up in last place in the division. So
I think they got the Giants next week. I think Cleveland got the Giants next week.
Yeah, so that's another victory for them if that's who they got next week. But the Ravens may be in a little bit of trouble as we take a look at their schedule coming up. They got the Cowboys next week in Dallas. So both of those teams licking their wounds after big-time defeats today. And then they come back home for Buffalo in week 4. So 2 really good ball clubs. I mean, the Ravens not careful, they could be staring 0-4 in the face if they're not careful. That's going to be a critical game next week in Dallas.
Absolutely. And it could – it's only the 3rd game of the season, but it could determine the outcome as the season go on, man. This could be a vital game that they'll go back on in this upcoming week and really feel some type of way about this, man. Hey, man, the Cowboys in trouble, man. The Cowboys in trouble. I told you they weren't going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs. I told you Baltimore Ravens were not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs. Hey, man, parity in the NFL is at an all-time high. Now, it's not reflecting on wins and losses, though. You know, it's not reflecting on wins and losses. As you go on, you'll see there's a couple more upsets today that you're going to touch on before we shut this thing down. But, again, this is a big game next week for the Cowboys and the Ravens, man. And right now, man, I would pick the Ravens. Right now, I believe in John Harbaugh and that coaching staff far more than I do than Mike McCarthy right now, man.
We'll see what happens. That's going to be a big one next week. Another upset today. This one didn't surprise me too much because Minnesota in this same spot defeated the 49ers last year, and they had Christian McCaffrey last year. But Sam Darnold is now the quarterback instead of Kirk Cousins, and they beat San Francisco again in Minnesota. So all of a sudden now you got the Minnesota Vikings at 2-0 on the season. Very surprising start for them. And the 49ers really wasn't surprising. They came off that emotional Monday night game against the Jets, go on the road on a short week, and they take the loss in Minnesota today. But you got to give a shout out to Sam Darnold, 17 of 26, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a 97-yard touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson. Brock Purdy struggled today, got sacked 6 times, threw a pick. The young kid, Mason, he had another good game running the football, 20 carries for 100 yards. So, but you're not getting anything out of the passing game from him. And that's really where you miss Christian McCaffrey. So Minnesota goes to 2-0 with the upset victory over Frisco.
Hey, man, in that NFC South, man, another NFC North, I think the team that we all thought was going to be a Super Bowl contender team, the Detroit Lions. They have not looked good. They have not looked good, and I'm quite sure you're gonna get to that, man. But they have not looked good, man. Even when they come back win against the Rams past Monday night, they didn't
Who you
look
talking about?
great, huh?
Who you talking about?
The Detroit Lions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In that division, that AFC North, you said the Minnesota Vikings are on top of that division right now at 2-0, and Detroit and Green Bay both at 1-1, and then the Bears are playing tonight, and more than likely they'll be 0-2. But again,
The Bears are 1-0 right now.
they're 0-1, and after the game tonight they'll be 0-2. That's what I said, brother.
They beat Tennessee last week, brother.
They beat this. They showed it. They'll be 1-1. Showed it. How could I forget that?
How could you forget that?
Yeah,
my boy Two-Tone Blue in the house. He says, "How do you feel about DeAndre Hopkins' performance today?" Look, D-Hop is out there to get his one catch a game right now. He had one catch last week. He had one catch today for 9 yards. I don't know if he's still hurt. I don't know if the quarterback just can't get him the ball.
Can't get him the ball.
What's going on with D-Hop right now? But I mean, you know, him and Levis had a real good connection last year. They had a really good chemistry and a really good connection last year. So I'm not sure what the problem is now in the Callahan system. You know, he's been getting the ball more to Ridley, who's been very explosive. Had 2 touchdowns today, Calvin Ridley. But no, D-Hop hadn't really done anything through the first 2 weeks of the year. So I can only assume it's due to that knee injury that he's still trying to get back to 100%.
Possibility. That's a possibility, man. But again, I saw the game. He only had one catch. It's for a first down, though. We only had one catch.
Right. You touched on Detroit. That was another upset today. A lot of people were all over Detroit today. I was on Detroit today. And at home, Tampa Bay had a lot of injuries in their secondary. But Jared Goff had a really bad day today against that defense. Passed the ball 55 times today. I don't know what was up with the play calling from Johnson, but they lose that game 20-16. Had a lot of opportunities. Detroit had a lot of opportunities late in that ball game. Goff threw one late interception when they were already in field goal range. They got the ball 2 more times down inside the red zone and couldn't get it into the end zone. So you got to give a lot of credit to Tampa Bay. Buccaneers go to 2-0 on the season. Baker Mayfield had a subpar game today, but he didn't make many mistakes and did just enough to win a big win on the road for Tampa Bay as they go to 2-0.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay team we gotta keep our eye on. I'm not sold on them. I'm still not sold on them. I'm more disappointed in the Lions play than Tampa Bay playing the way they are right now. I don't believe this will sustain a whole season with the Bucks. So again, I'm more concerned about the Detroit Lions right now.
All right. And then finally, the game that capped off the afternoon today was Kansas City and Cincinnati. The Bengals blow it late. Kansas City, as they always do, had a 4th and 16. They get a pass interference penalty. They got them in field goal range. It was a good call by the refs. It was pass interference, but Cincinnati had a golden opportunity to steal a victory in Kansas City. With the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, as they always do, they find a way, somehow, some way, in the end, and they pull it out with the last-second field goal to win it 26-25, and the Chiefs go to 2-0 on the season.
Hey man, it's Pat Mahomes, man. It's Pat Mahomes, man. That's all I gotta say with that, man. It's Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid, man. Great coaching staff, man. Shout out to them Chiefs, man. I'm looking forward to facing them down the road somewhere, and let's see what it do. Right now, man, we headed into kickoff of this Sunday evening game. But one more upset that was on. The Arizona Cardinals beat down the LA Rams, beat them down
I don't
With
think that was
people-
an upset, man. The Rams had a lot of injuries. I don't
Yeah.
think that was an upset. The Rams had a lot of injuries today. So I thought Arizona would win that game, man. I'm not surprised by that, but a good win for Kyler Murray. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a big day today. And
4 catches, 133 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's what I'm talking about, Marvin. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, hey, man, we'll try to do it after the game. We're going to go in here and watch the Texans and the Bears. They're about ready to kick it off at NRG Stadium. For once in my life, I really need the Texans to win this game tonight.
Hey, it ain't too late for you to come back home, and you're always welcome, brother.
We out,
See
man.
you after
We'll
the
see y'all
game,
after
brother.
the game.
Peace. Love.
Punk, you're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone. You're in the danger zone.